Part 59. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 590. After Su Junming became an immortal, this pure yang true fire also became an immortal fire. He quickly removed the impurities from the Yuan Yang spiritual iron and turned it into a ball of extremely condensed red liquid. Under the influence of mana, the condensation gradually elongated and turned into a pale golden iron hoop as thick as a child's finger. Putting away the real fire, Su Junming flew his hands, and countless spiritual lights flew into it. In just a few hours, a 9-level spiritual treasure was completed. After watching the whole process, Our Lady of the Golden Needle was extremely shocked. She used to feel that her level of weapon refining was first-rate, if not top-notch, in the entire cultivation world. After watching Su Junming's refining treasures today, I realized that I was just a frog in the well. With a shake of his hand, the iron hoop rose into the sky. In an instant, black clouds rolled in, and a catastrophe was coming. The Lingbao tribulation is not difficult for Iron Hoop. It passed quickly. He took the treasure back, looked at it in his hand, nodded with satisfaction, and threw it to Our Lady of the Golden Needle. Look at it. After taking it, his spiritual consciousness soaked in, and he quickly understood the use of this treasure. How? Are you willing to use it on your daughter? There was deep hesitation on the face of Our Lady of Golden Needles. This iron hoop is called the Forbidden God Hoop. In addition to being strong, once it is worn on a person's head, it will instantly penetrate the flesh. No one can take it off unless the owner of the treasure takes action. Moreover, Su Junming added Soul Dao and Spirit Taboo to it, which will automatically detect the thoughts of the person wearing the iron hoop. Once an evil thought arises, this iron hoop will instantly lock the soul, causing the locked person to experience soul-breaking pain. The pain that directly affects the soul is absolutely excruciating. This forbidden hoop was invented by Su Junming to restrain those monks who had committed serious crimes and make them work as coolies in the emperor's tower. Needless to say, the effect is excellent. No matter how powerful the devil is, after wearing it, he will become an obedient tool. It is precisely because she understands the pain of soul splitting that Our Lady of the Golden Needle hesitates. Su Junming didn't rush her either. There are loving mothers everywhere in the world, but there are not many strict mothers who can bear to let their children endure the most intense pain in the world for the sake of their children's future. Our Lady of the Golden Needle is indeed a monk who is able to turn back from the lost path, possessing great wisdom and perseverance. The decision was quickly made. Please also ask the real person to give me the instructions for using the Forbidden God Hoop. After Su Junming nodded, he flicked his finger, and a little spiritual light fell into the sea of consciousness of the Holy Mother of the Golden Needle. Thank you, Misato. You come with me. Bringing Our Lady of the Golden Needle to the backyard of Chongshan Academy again, the two of them stood in mid-air, looking at Shi Yun, or Shi Longwu, who was seriously learning to draw talismans with her classmates in the school below. You have to think clearly. Once you put on this forbidden hoop, it will take root and never be taken off again. Junior has already thought it through. Taking a deep breath, the Holy Mother of the Golden Needle took out the Forbidden God Hoop from the magic bag with her hands trembling. Looking down at the charming and innocent beloved daughter, who looked like a fairy pearl, Mother Golden Needle showed unbearable expression on her face. His eyes suddenly closed. Daughter, I am thinking about your future as a mother, so don't blame me. With a sudden pinch of his hand, the forbidden divine hoop brought up a string of spiritual light, which flew downwards like lightning and sank into Shi Longgu's body with almost no one noticing. The latter felt a tightness in his head, as if he was carrying something. He subconsciously touched the top of his head, but found nothing. Shi Yun, don't make small movements in class. Draw the symbols carefully. The teacher who gave the lecture was a 15-year-old boy who was originally an orphan in Chang'an City. He entered Chongshan Academy and after being detected as having the aptitude for cultivation, he entered the inner courtyard to practice. In a flash, 7 years have passed. Although he is not old, he has been teaching Dao boxing to the new juniors since his 2nd year, and he is already an experienced teacher. As his cultivation level continues to improve, Dao Quan has been taught by younger juniors, and now he teaches more complex talismans. Shi Longgu quickly put down her left hand. She didn't want to be beaten by the teacher in front of everyone. Not only is it painful, it's also embarrassing. The Lady of the Golden Needle in mid-air let out a long sigh. Now that the matter had come to an end, she was no longer entangled in her heart, and her expression gradually calmed down. Seeing the change in her expression, Su Junming's eyes flashed. Shi Liun. Senior. I see that your skill in weapon refining is good. In the inner courtyard of Chongshan Academy, we still need a teacher to teach the skills of weapon refining. Would you like to be the teacher? There was a look of surprise on the face of Our Lady of the Golden Needle. Who is true Lord Chongshan? That is a Taoist power that can rival the great Buddhist Zen master Tianmeng. The number of people who can compare with him in the entire world of practice is no more than one palm. My fellow disciple, the true Lord of 5 virtues, fought in the Kangmang mountain and became famous throughout the world for the great 5 elements divine light. His disciples, Kongsang Fairy Chiao Shaoxin, Bearded Sword Saint Yan Chixia, and Ice Phoenix Fairy Su Huang are all powerful earth immortals. Even among the 3 generations of disciples, Tianlong Sword Master Zhuge Liu Yun became an earth immortal. The disciples of his generation are all talented people with deep foundations and bright futures. If you can serve in such a sect, you will definitely be able to listen to the teachings at all times. It is much better than sitting alone in a remote place in a poor country and participating in the solitary Zen practice. Thank you, Senior, for your mercy. Junior is willing. Su Junming smiled and nodded. No matter in which world, there are many people who do evil things, but there are only a few people who can return from their lost ways. This not only requires strong perseverance to restrain temptation, but also requires amazing execution power. As the saying goes, a prodigal son will never be replaced by gold. Perseverance has always been the quality he valued most. Otherwise, it would take hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of years of hard work, and those with weak perseverance would simply not be able to persevere. The Holy Mother of the Golden Needle can cultivate to the realm of the soul by herself, and she has also made achievements in the art of weapon refining, and her understanding and aptitude are also excellent. You can be so responsible for your daughter, but you don't just dote on her. It can be seen that he has a good temperament and is far-sighted. Such talents are exactly what the Chongshan lineage needs. If in the future she can endure Gu Shilong's pleas in pain and abide by what she said today, I will send her to the door. If she can't, then everything will be over. He has always admired 2 kinds of people. One type is a person who can always abide by his principles, and the other type is a person who is a prodigal son who never changes his mind for gold. Either way, it requires perseverance and determination beyond ordinary people. But these 2 types of people are often very rare. After personally taking Our Lady of the Golden Needle to settle down and giving her the token to enter and exit Chongshan Academy, Su Junming came to the inner courtyard of the cave. Compared with when it was first opened, the scope here has expanded a lot. Already 1500 miles. This is the real core of Chongshan Chang'an Academy. Only those disciples who have broken through the golden elixir realm and passed the human soul level test of the human soul divine sect can enter. After a brief look, he came to the top of a high mountain in the middle of heaven and earth. Surrounded by a bamboo forest, an elegant 2-story bamboo building appeared in front of you. Walk into the bamboo house and come to the backyard. Here is a lotus pond. Behind the lotus pond, a 3-foot-high red bamboo shines with red glow. At the heels, 2 bamboo shoots, one large and one small, have grown. Red flame spiritual bamboo, the immortal root that Su Junming obtained in the Liuzai world. When Chongshan Academy's director and Dongtian was opened, he moved a plant from the center of Chongshan to this place. Sort out the turbidity and regulate the spiritual energy of the cave. After a brief glance, my heart moved. The palace treasure tree flew out from the top door and came to the top of the lotus pond. With one step, the next moment, he had arrived at Chongshan residence. Sensing the fluctuations in spiritual energy, the black dog lying on the stone platform in front of Chongshan residence raised its head. Master. After nodding slightly, he carefully checked the aura in the black dog's body. Take back all your clones. After the black dog nodded, he activated his magic power. In an instant, 2 black shadows rushed up from under the palace treasure tree. After the black shadow merged into the black dog's body, 2 equal-sized dog heads, one on the left and one on the right, grew out from the black dog's shoulders. In an instant, the black dog's aura rose sharply. In the blink of an eye, it went from the middle stage of nascent soul to perfection, and then slowly stagnated. Boom, there are bursts of thunder above Kongshanju. One after another, calamity energy gathered. Go. The black dog nodded, took a step forward, and reached mid-air. The body swelled up instantly, and in the blink of an eye, it was already a huge body of 30 feet. The 3 dog heads look like 3 hills, their fangs are ferocious, their eyes are radiant with light, and green netherworld fire is shooting out of their 4 hooves. This is the black dog, the true form of the 9 netherworld dog. Woof woof woof. The loud barking of a dog is like a loud bell, and the sound can be heard thousands of miles away. Crack, the first thunderbolt struck down. The black dog seemed oblivious and let it fall on him. The dazzling electric flowers instantly enveloped the black dog. The slightest arc jump quickly disappeared. When the first fire disaster fell, the 3 black dogs opened their mouths, and their powerful swallowing power exploded, directly swallowing the flames. This is true for the 2nd, 3rd, and 8th thunder and fire tribulations. Knowing that the 9th tribulation thunder and tribulation fire appeared, a loud black flag appeared above the head. This flag is the natal spiritual treasure Swanyan flag that Su Junming practiced for it. Boom. The sky was filled with huge earthquakes, thunder, and fire, all surrounding them. The Swanyan flag flashed and turned into a layer of black clouds, blocking out all the thunder and calamity fire. No matter how violent the thunder is and how hot the calamity fire is, it is still difficult to shake the extremely tenacious Swanyan banner. The 2 sides were in a stalemate for half a quarter of an hour before the thunder and fire dissipated, and an extremely rich innate spiritual energy poured into the black dog's body. Visible to the naked eye, its body expanded like a balloon. Soon it expanded from 30 feet to 40 feet. It didn't slow down until after 45 feet, and stopped completely after 50 feet. Pot, a blood flower exploded on the black dog's shoulder, and a pink and tender dog head grew out of it. At first it was only the size of a human head. When the wind blew, the pink color gradually turned into black. As the hard dog hair grew out, the size also became larger and larger. Almost instantly, it was the same size as the other 3 dog heads. The 4 heads are side by side, equally ferocious. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 591. Woof. At the same time as the loud and joyful barking of the dog sounded, green flames shot up into the sky and instantly enveloped the entire dog. A black cloud rose into the sky from above the 4 dogs' heads, and gradually transformed into the appearance of 4 black dogs 1 foot in size. After a while, the black dog turned into a layer of jade fire. Bai Wo turned into a boy who was 3 feet tall, with a thin body and a thin face. The boy turned into a demon with 4 heads and 4 arms. After changing his appearance 9 times, he turned into 4 black dogs again. The 9 transformations of Yuan Shen have a deep foundation. Su Junming nodded slightly. Today's spiritual practice community generally believes that the more types of changes in the soul, it means a deep foundation and great future achievements. But it's not absolute. There are also sects in the world of spiritual practice that always only practice one kind of transformation of the soul, and the essence is more valuable than the many. After the soul took shape, the black dog turned into a spiritual light and came to Su Junming like lightning, and his body became 3 feet in size again. Master, I have become a soul. The black dog cheered and circled around Su Junming, its tail wagging, and there was a faint sound of wind and thunder. Although he has become a spiritual being, the black dog still cannot change his dog nature. He shook his head slightly. With a flick of his finger, there was a bang sound, and the black dog's head tilted in the middle, and his body staggered, almost falling to the ground. Give me some peace of mind. The black dog covered his head and lay down obediently. Take out the Yunqian lotus I gave you. After black dog nodded, his heart moved, and a black lotus flew out of his body. The lotus is 3 feet large, with a total of 3 levels above and below. After opening the layers one by one, 5 men, 4 women, and 9 children were sitting, surrounded by black mist. 9 little guys sit cross-legged, their plump little faces look solemn. Su Junming saw this and nodded with satisfaction. It's finally complete. The reason why the black dog became a demon in the first place was that when he was a beast, he was fed by his master and ate 9 under-month-old children. This kind of pre-month-old child is a precious medicine for refining elixirs and a good material for refining weapons in the magic way. It is called Zai-Che. After the black dog swallowed it, he became a demon because of the innate energy in it. But because of his heavy sins, he performed hundreds of thousands of good deeds to repay his injustice, and even used his own soul to nurture the broken souls of these 9 children. It is precisely because of the latter that it took the form of an ancient divine beast and had been under Su Junming's sect for more than 200 years before it could become a Yuan Shen. Nowadays, the 9 children have perfect souls, which are 100 times better than ordinary babies. In future reincarnations, they will definitely be born with wisdom, excellent understanding, and extraordinary achievements. It can be regarded as the end of all hardships. Haiming, your merits have been fulfilled. It's all thanks to the master's cultivation. Su Junming smiled lightly, it might hurt a little, please bear with it. The black dog nodded. The right hands were pointed together to form a sword, and the Huishan magic talisman was activated. A sharp space blade passed through, and a trace of pain appeared on the black dog's face. At the same time, the black lotus fell and slowly flew into Su Junming's palm. Looking at the 9 children who had been with him for hundreds of years, black dog's eyes flashed with a trace of reluctance. Master, do you want to send them to the world of Chongshan for reincarnation? Su Junming nodded. Of course, disciples with such good qualifications should be kept to themselves. Master, wait a moment. The black dog raised its thick paw and slapped its chest. With a wow sound, a basketball-sized, black-red blood exuding rich essence spurted out from its mouth. The black dog opened his mouth and sprayed out, and the blood was divided into 9 parts, turning into 9 shining talismans, and disappeared into the bodies of the 9 children in a flash. After doing this, black dog's aura instantly became weak. You're willing to do it? The talisman just now was called the Taiyan amulet, and black dog borrowed his own natal essence and blood to cast it. The talisman's spell was strong enough to withstand the Yuan Shen monks. Moreover, this talisman can also absorb spiritual energy on its own and replenish consumption. As long as it is not consumed too much at once, it can be used for a lifetime. With the protection of this talisman, it would be difficult for these 9 children to die young. I have been with them for 300 years. These 9 little guys are like my children. Now that we are apart, I always give them some gifts. Looking at the black lotus in Su Junming's hand, a rare warmth showed on his face. After nodding and glancing at it, Su Junming threw a porcelain bottle over. There are 6 Shangyuan soul refining pills in here. You can take 1 pill every 7 days and you will be cured in 42 days. Go and rest. Thank you for your grace, sir. After taking one last look at Black Lotus, the light flashed and the figure disappeared instantly. With a gesture of his hand, the heavenly palace divine furnace opened, and the souls of 9 more children flew over. This is the demon child he rescued from Ju Panpo's 9 heavenly demon banners. Now he has refined it with the innate cold fire in the furnace for 9 days. The impurities have receded, leaving only the essence. After putting the souls of the 9 children into the Black Lotus, Su Junming carried the lotus to the teleportation hall. After absorbing enough spiritual energy, Su Junming activated the magic formula and opened the teleportation circle leading to the world of Chongshan. Looking at the cracked transmission channel above, Su Junming held the Black Lotus in his palm, separated an avatar and flew in. After passing through a passage surrounded by colorful lights, within a dozen seconds, my eyes lit up. A world spanning 15 million miles appeared in front of us, and its rich aura was second only to the Shushan world. The auras around him gathered together and condensed into the figure of Ao Tian. How about it? I've done a good job during this time, haven't I? The world of Chongshan has nearly doubled in size compared to the last time you left. If it weren't for my chaos Yunfei, I'm afraid I wouldn't have it even 5 million miles away. Ao Tian's expression froze. My dear, you are too disappointed? With a wave of his hand, a gourd flew over. Inside were Chiao Shaoxin, Su Huang, and Yan Chixia, the evil heretics captured in the Shushan world, including Ju Panpo. Ao Tian's eyes lit up, he grabbed the gourd, and after removing the seal, his consciousness swept away. Good guy, 2 immortals. 19 souls. The immortal is Ju Panpo, and the other one is Wu Tio Yupo, one of the 4 evils in Bianshan. As for Gu Chen and Su Wan, they have been sent here long ago. Not bad, not bad. Xiao Huang and the others are very capable of what they do. Free Cooley was his favorite. Be careful, don't let them get away. Hey, look at this world. They can't escape even if they are golden immortals. The power of a world that is 15 million miles away is unimaginably powerful. Suppressing Jinxian is not a lie. After Su Junming mentioned something, he said nothing more. He opened his left palm and a Black Lotus flew over. I can't stay any longer. You can send them to reincarnation. After taking it over and taking a look, Ao Tian said, it's a good qualification. Why don't you just use the innate spiritual energy to forge a physical body for them? Do you think my innate spiritual energy is that good? If it weren't for the creation spirit pool, which advanced into a low-grade innate spirit treasure when it advanced in Chongshan world, it would have been impossible to breed the innate creation aura. Even so, it took 10 years of hard work to create an innate Taisu creation spiritual energy from the spiritual pool that could be used to forge the innate Tao body. Su Junming spent 200 years accumulating and only had 20 ways. The 6 paths had already been used to forge the legal bodies for Chen Lin, Su Finiang, Yu Qinbin, Lin Yuan, Huo Wuhei, and the 5th direct disciple named Su Yuchen by Su Huang. He would keep the remaining 14 lines just in case. Ao Tian shrugged. I'm just suggesting, why be so angry? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 592. Come on, let me show you something. Ao Tian raised his escaping light and flew straight into the air. Su Junming frowned slightly and followed. The two came outside the world of Chongshan. The starry sky world that was once tens of millions of miles away has now reached over 1 billion miles. In addition to the 360 main stars, there are hundreds of thousands of various rocky planets and gaseous planets. Looking up from the main world, the sky is full of stars, like a river of stars, mysterious and beautiful. After the two of them got out of the atmosphere of the main world and penetrated millions of miles into the starry sky, a planet with a diameter of about 80,000 to 90,000 miles appeared in front of them. Under the thick atmosphere, the planet blooms a beautiful ocean blue. Su Junming, who is proficient in the Tao of creation, instantly felt the breath of life from it. The two flew into the planet, and the rich oxygen hit their faces. Seen from the air, there is a huge piece of land in the vast sea water, accounting for about 40% of the entire planet. How's it going? Are you familiar? Of course Su Junming is familiar with it. This place is more than 90% similar to the Earth in his previous life. You built this? Ao Tian shook his head. When the main world of Chongshan world exceeded 10 million miles, it gradually appeared. And in this starry sky, this is not the only planet similar to the Earth, there are many other similar planets. The prototype of small thousand worlds, Su Junming said. It should be. But the way of heaven was not born. Ao Tian waved his hand, and huge waves suddenly appeared on the sea. But there were no fish to be seen in the rolling waves. Obviously, mammals have not yet evolved in this world. This planet is still far from being able to truly achieve the small thousand world. A middle thousand world should have a main world and 3,000 small thousand worlds. In the Shushan world and the Huaxia world, apart from the main world, we have not observed many small thousand worlds. Obviously they are not too powerful worlds among the middle thousand worlds. Su Junming nodded slightly. The main world is more than 120,000 miles away. After successfully overcoming the tribulation, it will be a small world. But to achieve the success of a small thousand world, a diameter of 100 million miles is required. 120,000 to 100 million is simply a desperate number. Therefore, it is really unimaginable that the Chinese world can advance from the small world to the middle world. It is this unimaginable quality that has created countless great opportunities. Su Junming did not hesitate to put himself there with his two apprentices, and he was still unwilling to leave. That was why. As for the conditions for advancing from the middle thousand world to the great thousand world, Su Junming didn't know. Because he has never been to the great thousand world, Ao Tian is just a Tiandao from the small thousand world. He knows the conditions for promotion to the middle thousand world, but does not know the conditions for the middle thousand world to advance to the great thousand world. My dear, Chongshan world is our foundation. Only as Chongshan world becomes stronger will we have another chance to become stronger. Su Junming came back to his senses instantly after nodding. What do you want to do? Give me Zhulong's head. If you put it with you, it will be a top-notch collection that cannot be used at best. But if you feed it to Chongshan world, even if we cannot be promoted to Zhongqian world immediately, we will definitely be able to shorten the time. Most of the time. Ao Tian's eyes were full of longing. As the heavenly Dao of Chongshan world, the only way for him to grow in strength is for Chongshan world to continue to grow stronger. Especially after tasting the sweetness of the chaos Yunfei, which instantly expanded the area of the Chongshan world several times, he became more and more eager for this important treasure that was conducive to the expansion of the world. However, there are too few such treasures, and the head of Zhulong in Su Junming's hands is exactly the most suitable treasure. The Witch clan is a race that practices by absorbing the turbid energy of the earth. The Great Witch is the most powerful person in the Witch clan, second only to the ancestral witch. Even if it is just a head, it contains extremely rich earthly turbidity. If it can be used for its own use, Chongshan world will surely usher in a wave of large-scale expansion again. When Ao Tian thought about this possibility, he was so excited that he could hardly control himself. Su Junming can understand this feeling. If there is a valuable treasure that can improve his cultivation by a big step, he will not give up. The Great Witch's head is so strong that I can't even cut it with the Ziying sword. Are you sure you have a way to refine it? Haha, it might not have been possible before. But now the area of Chongshan world is close to 16 million miles. With the Emperor's Tower, it should be able to grind down a little. Although it was a little slow at the beginning, the world of Chongshan is getting stronger and stronger, and the power of the world is getting more and more. This process will only get faster and faster. Su Junming nodded slightly. He was not a stubborn person. What's more, Ao Tian is his seven spirits Dharmakaya, and the essence is that if he takes out Zhu Long's head, the meat will be rotten in his own pot. After considering the pros and cons, he quickly agreed. Moreover, the head of the Great Witch is extremely strong. Although it is a top-notch spiritual material for refining treasures, it cannot be refined at all with his current methods. Even if the innate spiritual fire in the Tiangong divine furnace was burned for hundreds of years, there would be no change in the head of the Great Witch. After trying it, he gave up. For the time being, it is regarded as a top-level material, placed together with the black blood and the blood of the Great Witch. Haha, I knew you would agree. Ao Tian was very happy. I'll give you the head of the Great Witch, but you can't stop using the Emperor's Tower to refine the acquired chaos energy. Don't worry, I want to make Chongshan world stronger more than you do. Su Junming nodded. Chongshan world and Ao Tian are the escape routes he has reserved for himself, once he falls to other worlds. At least he can be resurrected with the help of Ao Tian's Dharma body. You won't suffer the pain of reincarnation again. Return to Chongshan residence in Shushan world. He took out the head of the Great Witch from the treasure room, and after spending half a year accumulating spiritual energy, he opened a space channel that was enough to transport the head of the Great Witch and sent it back to the world of Chongshan. As soon as he came out of the teleportation hall, he noticed that the bamboo building outside was being tampered with. After leaving the palace treasure tree, we came to the Tianzi Tower of Chang'an Cave in Chongshan Mountain. The mountain chief is here, Shi Liun pays my respects. Su Junming came to the living room and lifted the ban outside with a wave of his hand. Come in. Soon, Our Lady of the Golden Needle Shi Liun walked in. Meet the mountain chief. After joining the inner courtyard of Chongshan Chang'an Academy as a teacher, Shi Liun changed her title. Instead of calling her senior, she and other academy disciples called her mountain chief. Sit down. Our Lady of the Golden Needle nodded and sat down at the bottom. Su Junming waved his hand, and a cup of steaming tea slowly floated over. Thank you, chief. Take it with both hands and put it aside. What do you want from me? Master, in another half-month, it will be your 7th sermon. Some monks who have traveled far away have arrived in advance. Please tell me how to arrange it? Su Junming suddenly realized. Since he came to this world, in order to gain merit and achieve enlightenment, in addition to teaching disciples, he also gives lectures on Taoism and Dharma from the 1st to the 7th day of the 1st lunar month every year. This is now the 7th time. However, the previous 6 times it was his avatar preaching the Dharma, but this time it was his real body. Looking at the respectful and serious Madonna of the Golden Needle, knowing that she was ordered to take charge of this matter for the first time, I felt nervous. Su Junming didn't say much about it. Many things will be easier to talk about next time with experience. The courtyard on the left side of the academy is the guest room. If there are monks who arrive early, arrange them there. Yes. Also, in addition to preaching for 7 days this year, I also have some magic weapons and elixirs to exchange with everyone. You can inform them in advance so that they can be prepared. After practicing Taoism for many years, Su Junming acquired many magic weapons. Most of them are not used, and the best ones are given to his disciples and grandchildren. He doesn't need the rest, so he might as well exchange them out while he has the chance. Our Lady of the Golden Needle nodded. Does the mountain chief have any other explanations? No more. After a pause, are you still used to being here? Thank you to the director of the mountain. Although the daily teaching is a little busier than before, I can review the past and learn new things. It is countless times better than hiding in the mountains alone in the cold wind and rain, panicking every day. In addition, I would like to thank the mountain master for giving me the Aoki Immortality Sutra, which gives this disciple the hope of becoming a golden immortal. No need to thank me. Although the technique is good, if you don't have the perseverance to practice it from scratch, it will all be empty talk. The mountain leader is too humble. I don't know how many talented people there are in the side sex like me, but they have no hope of becoming immortals because they don't have the right method. Liun can get the mountain leader to teach the true scriptures, and rebuild with kindness, Liun Mingan Vunia. Seeing her sincerity, Su Junming smiled and nodded. Practice well and lead the disciples in the inner courtyard well. This is the best reward for me. Disciple understands that he will do his best to fulfill the mountain master's instructions. After nodding slightly, if you have nothing to do, just go and get busy. There was a hint of hesitation on his face. Mountain master, my daughter also has an innate Taoist body with the King Mu attribute. She is most suitable for practicing the King Mu Sutra of longevity. I wonder if the skill can be passed on to her by my disciples. Can. Thank you, Mountain Master. Our Lady of the Golden Needle was beaming with joy. Su Junming smiled lightly and didn't say much. He has never been self-conscious about his skills. Whether he is a direct descendant of Chongshan or an inner disciple, he can practice any method of Chongshan lineage. Preaching to the world was the vision he had promised many years ago. Anything else? Our Lady of Golden Needles shook her head. Go ahead. Disciple resigns. Seeing her leave, Su Junming shook his head slightly. The first thing that limits a person's achievements is perseverance, followed by understanding. Kung Fu only accounts for a small part. Moreover, all disciples who enter Chongshan Academy are not short of skills. But now that Our Lady of the Golden Needle has spoken, he will not refuse. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 593. Thanks to the reputation Su Junming has accumulated through his preaching in the past 6 years, more and more people come to listen to the sermons. After all, it is almost rare for UNEI to be able to preach Taoism compared to Tianmeng Beimei. What is even more rare is that true monarch Chongshan is not only proficient in 5 elements Taoism, but also proficient in elixir refining, weapon refining, yin and yang and other methods. He is erudite and versatile, and all of them have reached extremely high levels. Everyone who has been here feels that they have gained a lot. Word of mouth spreads, and more people have come in this 7th year. Master, there are many monks. Zhangqi sat on her master's magic sword, looking around, especially the escaping lights around her, which made her especially envious as she had just become a master. Looking at the appearance of his eldest disciple, Luo Xian was about to speak. Is this fellow Taoist Luo in front of you? Luo Xian turned her head subconsciously. A beautiful woman wearing a long white dress came into view. Next to her, there was a handsome-looking middle-aged Taoist priest wearing a navy blue robe, a feather robe and a star crown. Stop the light escape and wait until the 2 of them come up. It turns out to be fellow Taoist Ye and fellow Taoist Ye. Ye Bin smiled. Fellow Taoist Luo also went to Chang'an Chongshan Academy to listen to sermons. Luo Xian nodded. Since Bindao met the true Lord at Zongnan Mountain 7 years ago, he has been guided by his old man, and his cultivation has improved rapidly. Later, he attended every time he attended the Taoism, and of course this time was the same. But the 2 of you are far away from overseas, how can you get together? Will you come here too? A year ago, I happened to meet Zhenjun Lianbao outside Copper Coconut Island. I had a chance encounter with him and was deeply impressed by Zhenjun's virtue and cultivation. Now I heard that Zhenjun was preaching here, so I came with you, Taoist friend Xie. Since fellow Taoist Luo has been a regular visitor for many years, may he be able to guide the two of us. Back then, I was collecting herbs in the South China Sea, and Taoist friend Doming Gai took care of me. I have been grateful for him for many years. It's just a trivial matter, so there is no problem. Ye Bin looked happy, thank you very much. Xie Shan also clasped his fists to express his thanks. You two fellow Taoists are very polite. Zhang Qi pays homage to the two seniors. Zhang Qi stepped forward quickly. Is this a disciple of fellow Taoist? Luo Xian nodded and said, I just accepted her 3 years ago, and she is also a troublemaker. Within a few years of joining, she got the bandit name of Ruthless Fire in the practice world. I was really pissed off by her. Zhang Qi listened to Master's criticism and did not dare to say anything next to her. Haha, fellow Taoist Luo is too harsh. Don't you think that when I first debuted, I would be just as chivalrous and loyal? As I experience more in the future, I will naturally become more stable, Ye Bin said with a smile. I hope so. As soon as the two of them finished speaking, they saw a golden light flying from the distance. The speed was very fast and disappeared in front of everyone in the blink of an eye. That seems to be Senior Gle. Ye Bin hesitated. Luo Xian was also a little unsure. The light escaped so quickly that she didn't have time to see it clearly. Not far ahead is Chang'an City. When we get there, we will naturally be able to confirm whether it is Senior Gle. Xie Shan suddenly interrupted. After Luo Xian and Ye Bin nodded, the three of them urged the escape light to fly forward. Not long after, a vast city appeared in sight. They used the invisibility method and everyone flew into the city. Arrive at Chongshan Academy. I saw an endless stream of people walking in. There are 2 tables on the left and right at the door, and there are people queuing behind each table. 2 fellow Taoists, let's line up here. There are fewer people here, Luo Xian said. Fellow Taoist Luo, I'm just here to listen to the sermon, so why bother? You still have to register, Ye Bin frowned. In the first 2 years when the real person preached, not many people came, and it was not that troublesome. Later, word of mouth spread, and more people came to listen to the sermon. Many of them were celebrating festivals and jockeying for seats, which caused a lot of trouble. The chaos made the real person furious, so there was an additional procedure. Register first, and take the opportunity to tell everyone the rules of listening. At the same time, we will also keep out some evil heretics. That's it? No wonder it's so complicated, Ye Bin said. It's our turn. After registering their names, cultivation, sect, and cave location, the 4 of them each received a token and a note. Seniors, be sure to grab the access tokens. After admission, you can visit the places where the tokens can be opened. The places where the tokens cannot be opened are the forbidden areas of this hospital. You must not force your way in. Otherwise, being punished by the Mountain Master will not be a trivial matter. This note contains many taboos of my Chongshan Academy, as well as some changes in this sermon. You must read it carefully so that you can be prepared in advance. After saying that, he motioned for the 4 of them to leave. Thank you, little brother, Luo Xian smiled. The young man in charge of registration is a disciple of the inner courtyard. He is only 15 or 16 years old, but his cultivation is at the level of Jindan. In the past 6 days, he has been responsible for registering 8 or 9,000 people. Needless to say, those with higher cultivation levels than him, those with the same or even lower cultivation bases, all looked aloof. Those who have advanced cultivation but have a kind attitude are rare, but not many. Being respected by others, the guy's attitude has improved a lot. Senior Luo, you are polite. There will naturally be someone in front to guide you. Luo Xian smiled and nodded, then stepped into the door with the token and letterhead. Under the opposite screen wall, there is a left turn arrow prompt. Standing next to her was a female disciple wearing a cyan sword outfit and whose cultivation had reached innate perfection. Please go to the right. Yeben and Xieshan, who came here for the first time, were amazed. I have been practicing Taoism for hundreds of years, and I have not listened to sermons once or twice, but this is the first time I have seen him arrange everything in an orderly manner. Turning into the moon gate on the right, the space in front of you suddenly opens up. As far as the eye can see, the lush flowers, plants, and trees are dotted with pavilions of various sizes and shapes. At a glance, I'm afraid there are no less than 1,000 seats. The staggered layout, combined with the rockery spring pool, has a unique and uncanny beauty. What's even better is that from the outside, the yard, which is only about 2 or 3 acres, contains infinite space. This method of creating the extraordinary from the ordinary is the most shocking. It is said that Senior Chongshan is good at the secret technique of Hushan, and now it seems that he is well deserved. Xieshan suddenly stopped and sighed. Yeben nodded in agreement. His eyes are bright and his eyes are hopeful. The secret method of Hushan is the most superior Taoist method in the world of cultivation. From ancient times to the present, there are almost very few people who can achieve success on this Taoist method. In addition, there are very few inheritances, and no one has practiced it for thousands of years. Senior Chongshan is good at more than just the way of Hushan. Luo Xian said in admiration. What do you mean, fellow Taoist? Fellow Taoists, please take a look. Follow the direction of her finger and look to the left. After crossing the wide green belt that serves as the boundary on the first floor, you can see tall and magnificent palaces in the front yard, hidden among various trees. Different from the exquisite and elegant pavilions seen before, the buildings here are full of craftsmanship and have a hint of roughness. But with the eyes of the 3 Yuanshan level monks, they could clearly see the children coming in and out of these buildings. Most of them are between 6 and 12 years old. Although they look strong and not malnourished, there is no trace of qi refining at all. It was obvious that these children were not monks. Compared with his superb cultivation, what is truly respectable about Senior Chongshan is his compassion that tolerates the world. Since the establishment of Chongshan Academy, it has adopted 80,000 to 90,000 homeless children, including many. Most of them are disabled. Senior Chongshan not only treated their illnesses, but also taught them the means of making a living and the principles of life. This alone can be regarded as a great merit. In addition, Senior Chongshan also allowed the children of poor people in Chang'an City to study in the college for free, and provided them with 3 meals and lodging for free. This alone has saved countless tragedies of selling children and daughters. With such a big heart, he can be a role model for our generation. There was deep admiration in Luo Xian's words. After hearing this, Yeben and Xieshan looked at the tall palace in the distance and became silent for a while. Although they claim to be righteous, they have spent a long time on their own cultivation. A truly good deed may be to kill a few evil monks who offended you, or to save a few mortals who were almost raped by evil monks while collecting medicine to visit friends. Not only have they never done anything but use their precious cultivation time to benefit thousands of sentient beings, they have never even thought about it. They are all high-minded monks, not ordinary people who care about petty profits all day long. It is precisely because they cannot do it that they have respect for those who can do it. Just like the general public, when they see people who act bravely for justice, they will praise them from the bottom of their hearts. Senior Chongshan is indeed my leader in the righteous path and my model in the immortal path. Yeben and Xieshan admired at the same time. Of course, people with bright minds will see respectable kindness in it, while people with dark minds will see hypocrisy in it. This true Lord Chongshan is really good at winning people's hearts. Zheng Yuanqi, who was wearing a black robe, muttered. Junior brother, be careful what you say. Ling Weisa quickly stopped him. If this is heard by true Lord Chongshan, even if the master traps the ancestor, he still cannot save them. Although Zheng Yuangi disdains his elder brother's cowardice, he also knows that it is better to be careful in other people's fields. He curled his lips and said no more. Come on, let's go and stay first. Master should be here soon. Ling Weisa quickly pulled his junior brother and walked towards the left courtyard under the guidance of the disciples of Chongshan Academy. At the same time, another monk in green robes with 3 strands of beard on his chin and a tutuo wearing Taoist robes fell into Chang'an City. Junior brother, your Dharma body has just been stabilized and you should stay in Diaoyaji to practice. Why do you need to travel thousands of miles to come to Chang'an to listen to the teachings? Besides, our Imei Taoist teachings are directly inherited from taking. Why should we come to listen to the Taoist teachings of this Chongshan sect? Qi Shuming shook his head. Brother ascetic, what you said is wrong. As the saying goes, if you know your enemy and yourself, you can win 100 battles. Looking at the current situation of the Chongshan sect, they will probably compete with me in Imei for the position of leader of the righteous path in the future. I have the respect of my master and should take it as my responsibility to revitalize Imei. In order to achieve the goal, of course we must carefully understand the Chongshan section, only then can we make targeted and correct decisions. The ascetic Tutu sighed and patted his shoulder. It would be great if the senior brother was still here. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 594. Qi Shuming's expression darkened. Xianzhenzi was outstanding in his strategizing. He was the one who made the plans back then and secretly asked Mrs. Tianhu Baoxiang to come forward. Not only did he regain the purple Ying sword in one fell swoop, but he also destroyed Qin Yu Daiji and dispelled the paradise boy Li Jingxiu. The idea of Zhongli sect virtually eliminated a powerful competitor in Imei. It can be said that it kills 2 birds with 1 stone. But now Xianzhenzi has fallen in Wutai Mountain. When Tai Hunyuan Patriarch blew himself up, his body and soul were destroyed, leaving him without a big helping hand. After sighing inwardly, he straightened his expression. Although senior brother is no longer here, I still have many elite disciples under my Imei sect, and there are also countless good relationships forged by my mentor back then. As long as we unite as one and plan hard, the great prosperity of Imei will be an unchangeable trend of heaven. What my junior brother said is true. Qi Shuming had a smile on his face and confidence in his eyes, but he was under great pressure in his heart. Especially in the face of the increasingly powerful Chongshan lineage, whose strength is inferior to others, there is nothing they can do. In fact, he is not afraid of demonic sects such as Taicheng Mountain and Great Ashura Palace. Because they pose no threat to the position of the leader of Imei Zhendao. But the Chongshan lineage is different. Su Junming, the true king of Chongshan, has been preaching for many years. Countless monks in the spiritual world have benefited from his grace and their prestige has grown day by day. The Dragon Emperor, the true Lord of 5 virtues, suppressed the southern border. Kangmang Mountain, which once had the largest number of evil spirits and heretics, has now almost become the paradise of righteousness in Haikinghian. Kongsang Fairy Chiao Shaoxin led her disciples to perform acupuncture and medicine. There were countless people living in the south of the Yangtze River, and their merits were shining brightly. Yan Shixia's master and apprentice swept through the Bamang mountain ghosts that had been harming the central plains for many years. Later, they pressed swords on both sides of the Yellow River, and the demons were crowned. They also accumulated countless merits. Ice Phoenix Fairy Su Huan killed Ju Panpo, the leader of the naked sect who had been evil in the northwest for hundreds of years, and his disciple Tai Shu. This alone was an immeasurable merit. Under the leadership of these 5 people, Chongshan Academy is flourishing and its prestige in the righteous path is growing. If it were not for the Master Chinmei Genren, who had accumulated so much merit over thousands of years, the great prosperity of Imei would have been caused by God. I am afraid that Imei's prestige in the righteous path would have been replaced by Chongshan Academy. Therefore, ever since it was reported that Chongshan True Lord Su Junming had set up a monastery in Chang'an and established a sect, he had always regarded it as a potential enemy of Ime. Originally, they planned to destroy the Wutai sect, their formidable enemy, before turning around and dealing with Chongshan Academy. Who would have thought that Patriarch Tai Hunyuan would be so strong-willed that he would not hesitate to blow himself up and die, causing Ime to suffer heavy losses. However, Ime has a solid foundation. Even if Xianzhenzi is gone, there are still more than a dozen second-generation disciples. But the strength of the Chongshan lineage is not inferior. The 6 earthly immortals made Qi Shuming feel deeply pressured. There are also 5 or 6 disciples who are close to transcending the tribulation at the peak of their soul. Regardless of the top combat power or the mid-range combat power, they are not inferior to Ime in the slightest. Now that he heard that Chongshan Academy was more and more established in Chang'an, and that there were many outstanding disciples in its sect, he wanted to take another opportunity to come and see for himself. It is also good to have a clearer understanding of the strength of Chongshan Academy. The 2 brothers changed their appearance and became casual cultivators. After registering at the academy, they walked in. As the time for the sermon drew closer, more and more listeners gathered. Fortunately, Su Junming opened up enough guest rooms in the left courtyard to accommodate everyone. However, there are some people who, even in his current capacity, do not need to receive them in person. For example, there was Li Jingxiu, a real person with whom we had a close relationship, Nifenchuo, a god who fought in Biang Mountain for 3 days, and Master Tianke, who we had known each other for many days. And, Dejun Qingyang and Monk Lokin have never appeared in the book Shushan, but they are among the immortals. These 2 people were ascetic monks practicing in Zongnan Mountain. In the 4th year of Su Junming's preaching in Chang'an, the 2 came here because of their reputation. They had communicated with each other for many years, and their relationship was even closer than that of Li Jingxiu. We have known each other for 3 years, and finally I saw the true form of my Taoist friend. Qingyang Taoist Lord is dressed in an old navy blue Taoist robe. He has a thin face, a goatee on his chin, and bright eyes. He has the cultivation level of a mid-level immortal. Haha, what fellow Taoist Qingyang said is true. This is the first time that this poor monk has seen the true form of fellow Taoist Su. Although monk Liao Chen is an ascetic, he has a big belly and smiles before he speaks, which makes people feel close to him. Fenchuo glanced at him. This was her first time meeting this fellow Buddhist. However, although they both belong to the Buddhist sect, they have different paths and do not seek each other's will. Fenchuo is a typical example of enlightenment through merit in Buddhism, using merit to suppress inner demons. This is not the case with Liao Chen. He is an ascetic. This school emphasizes using difficult environments to hone one's will and using one's own will to suppress inner demons. Because the practice of this school is too difficult and requires too much perseverance, there are not many practitioners. But if there is any achievement, it is all due to the strong will of the Buddhists. For example, the monk Liao Chen in front of me is an eminent monk in the middle stage of Arhat, which is equivalent to the middle stage of immortals. My fellow Taoists, please forgive me. I have important matters to attend to and cannot return. Otherwise, I won't be able to attend other guests. Qingyang Daijun and monk Liao Chen looked at each other and smiled, and quickly changed the topic. They just mentioned it in passing, not really blaming it, but they had another purpose. In this case, fellow Taoist, can you take advantage of this opportunity to explain the Huishan Taoism? The eyes of Li Jingxiu, Fen Tuo, and Master Tianke suddenly lit up. Although there is no saying in the Shushan world that time is the emperor and space is the king, the mystery of the Huishan method has indeed been passed down since ancient times. In today's cultivation world, the Huishan method is almost extinct, and the inherited method has long since withered. Su Junming is the only earth immortal they have ever seen who has practiced Huishan Taoism and reached an extremely advanced level. In the Shushan world, monks who have not yet ascended to the heavenly immortal realm are called earth immortals. Therefore, many people hope to get a glimpse of the mystery of Huishan Taoism from him. Looking at everyone's expectant eyes, Su Junming nodded. Since you are so curious, I will take advantage of the time before the sermon begins to explain it to you. He is not afraid. If it were so easy for these people to learn the Huishan Taoism, the Huishan Taoism would have become a piece of shit like the Five Elements Taoism. Let alone one sermon, even if it is preached 10 or 100 times, if they can get started, they are considered to be extremely talented. Fellow Taoist Su is so generous, Li Jingxiu admires him. Ba, Taoist friend Su is indeed the leader of my righteous path. He has a broad mind and the poor monk admires him, Liao Chen also said. Fenchuo whispered the Buddha's name. Considering the feud between her and Su Junming, she shouldn't have come here. But when they met twice, she was deeply impressed by Su Junming's profound Taoism, and she also came to visit him with the intention of knowing her enemy and her friend. However, compared with Qi Shuming and the ascetic Tuchuo, who hide their heads and show their tails, she is more open and generous and comes directly to the door. On the way, I met Li Jingxiu and was invited by him to go to the backyard to meet Su Junming. I never thought that I would encounter such an opportunity. Seeing Su Junming's eyes slightly closed, Tao Qi exuded from his body. Everyone was shocked and hurriedly sat down cross-legged to meditate and clean the altar. The mysterious nature of heaven and earth has no true form. Accompanied by the mysterious sound of Tao Dao, 3-foot Qingyuan slowly condensed above Su Junming's head. The Qingyuan held a 9th-grade green lotus, and a dove egg-sized Tao fruit on the lotus table emitted endless spiritual light. The Tao fruit is surrounded by various magical instruments. The sharp and invincible 4-elephant sword formation, the powerful creation spirit pond, the mysterious and endless heavenly secret divine ball, the hot heavenly works divine furnace, the thunder drum bursting with thunder, the immortal Ho of Ji Shi wrapped in medicinal energy, the strong and heavy, Pan Tuo divine spear. The simple and powerful San Ke Shenmen, the golden Juyi Ding. As for the most powerful bronze mirror, it is located within the Tao fruit. Next to him, Li Jingxiu's Qingyuan was also 3 feet tall. There was a golden lotus blooming in the 12th rank, and a light golden Taoist fruit bloomed with spiritual light. Around Daokuo, there is a jade ruyi surrounded by fairy light, a fairy sword with strong spiritual light, and a handful of silver needles. Slightly worse than Li Jingxiu is Fenchuo. 3 feet above the head, there is a bodhisattva statue with 3 heads and 6 arms floating in the air. In the palm of the Buddha statue, there is a radiant relic, fully displaying the mystery of Buddhism. 2 magical instruments are suspended around the relic, a holding bead made of 36 Bodhi seeds, and a golden sword with the Buddha's light shining. Also a disciple of Buddhism, above the head of monk Liao Chen is a statue of the Venerable with 2 heads and 4 arms. There are also 2 magical instruments around the relic, a sword and an alms bowl. Although Qingyang Daijun is not as good as Su Junming, Li Jingxiu, and Fen Tuo, he still has 3 feet of Qingyun above his head when he is in the middle stage of Tianxian, but his color is indeed as red as fire. A 5th-grade red lotus is held up in the red Qingyun, with a Taoist fruit inside, exuding the infinite mystery of Binghuo. The Dao fruit is surrounded by 3 magic weapons, a red sword, a token, and a flaming bead. The weakest one is probably Master Tianke. In the 3-foot blue Qingyun, a 2nd-grade blue lotus flower is held up, and the Taoist fruit exudes the charm of green wood. There are 2 magic weapons coiled around it. One is a set of 99 pieces of sacred wood swords, and the other is the Tai magnetic optical disc that Su Junming trained for him. Each of the 6 people showed different appearances. Following the sound of Su Junming's sermon, spiritual light flew down on the 5 people. It was fine at the beginning, but the difference became apparent later on. The Tianke Taoist began to scratch his ears and cheeks, Daijun Qingyang and monk Liao Chen had sweat on their foreheads, Fenchuo frowned, and Li Jingxiu clenched his fists. With everyone's performance in mind, After preaching for 2 hours, Su Junming felt that it was almost done, so he stopped. Call. After letting out a sigh of relief, the 5 people opened their eyes almost at the same time. What a mysterious Hushan Taoist method, Qingyang Daijun sighed. Ba, the old monk almost made a fool of himself. After Lai Chen wiped the sweat from his forehead, he smiled bitterly. Fenchuo raised one palm and spoke sincerely. Thank you very much, fellow Taoist Chongshan, for preaching. Everyone reacted and quickly thanked him. You and I are all close friends. It is normal to exchange Taoism with each other. There is no need to say thank you. After saying that, he glanced at Fenchuo. Although this old nun had a bad temper and a tough temper, she was a gentleman among women. He acts upright and has clear grudges. Although there are disputes between the two parties, it makes people unable to feel any hatred. In this sermon, only she and Li Jingxiu performed best, which shows that they have excellent understanding. No wonder this old nun has an outstanding reputation in the righteous path, almost comparable to Tianmeng Beimei. He is indeed a person with excellent understanding. After the thought falls. In 3 more hours, it will be the time for Pandeo to start his lecture. Taking advantage of this period, the 5 of you may wish to have a good time here to understand what I have said before. What fellow Taoist said is exactly what I think. Then you're welcome. After Li Jingxiu finished speaking, he crossed his legs and entered meditation. The other 4 people glanced at him and followed suit. I just listened to it roughly, and only after careful understanding can I transform it into something of my own. They all understand this. Su Junming smiled faintly and slowly closed his eyes. The quiet room became quiet for a while. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 595. In the quiet courtyard of the west courtyard of Chongshan Academy, a woman with an oval face, wearing a light red dress and a lavender gauze covering her hair, looked out the window blankly. His eyes were distant, as if filled with faint memories. The sound of soft footsteps behind her interrupted her thoughts. Master, what are you thinking about? Turning around, a small face that was both angry and happy came into view. There was a hint of affection on the woman's face, and she reached out to touch the soft long hair on the top of the little girl's head. Why didn't you go out to play with your senior sister? If senior sister and I leave, there will be no one to take care of master. Therefore, Ruyi cannot leave. With that said, the little girl stepped forward and hugged the master's slender waist. For her, who had no father or mother since she was a child, her master, who was gentle and kind, but extremely strict in her homework, was the best person in the world to her. Master, I'm back. Following the voice, a purple figure flew into the room like lightning. The light dispersed, and a girl with a sword case on her back, a purple sword outfit, and a heroic face appeared in front of her. Senior sister. The little girl shouted happily and ran over. He hugged the little junior sister who looked like a baby swallow in the forest, touched her head lovingly, and then raised her head. Master, I have gone to all the places in Chongshan Academy that I can go to. This is the topographic map I drew. By the way, the place in the inner courtyard where Lord Chongshan preached. I asked the person who listened to the sermon last time, Chongshan Academy. The inner courtyard of Shan Academy is not here, but an independent cave world. The woman's brows trembled. Dongtian world. Although she felt that the master's expression was a bit strange today, the girl still nodded. They said that the token we received when we entered was the key to entering the cave world. And each token is connected to a futon. After entering through the space passage, you can only sit cross-legged on your own futon. You are not allowed to change it without permission. Violators will be disqualified from listening to the sermon. The woman nodded. Okay, I understand. You've been tired for a long day, so take Ruyi back to rest. The girl nodded. Disciple resigns. He held the little girl's hand and walked into the back room. The woman frowned and opened the letter in her hand, took a look at it and shook her head. After many years, the layout of this courtyard has been changed beyond recognition under the powerful Taoism of Su Junming, the true lord of Chongshan. If the place had not changed and there were still traces of the yin vein under the earth, she would not be sure that this was the location of her previous life. Alas, it seems that the body of my previous life and the things left behind have fallen into the hands of true monarch Chongshan. I don't know if I can get them back this time. After she awakened from her past life, she rushed back here to take away the treasures she had secretly left behind in her previous life. I never expected that when I arrived, I would find that the former Bipo had become the dojo of Chongshan Zhenjun, a righteous master who is now famous in the spiritual world. Boom. A loud bell suddenly reminds me of whether I am entering meditation or making friends and visitors. But everyone who came here to listen to the sermon heard the bell that went straight into their hearts. What's even better is that this bell has a kind of silent magic that moisturizes things. Although it sounds like thunder, it doesn't feel noisy at all in the ears. The woman raised an eyebrow. The sound of the bell is so mysterious that it penetrates directly into the soul. Master. The girl who heard the bell took the little girl Ruyi and went back again. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly stopped. The token that they had kept in their magic bag suddenly appeared in front of them. The spiritual light bloomed, and a 3-foot-long and 9-foot-high space passage appeared in front of them. A warm and crisp female voice came from the passage. The sermon is about to begin. Fellow Taoists, please come in. This voice is so familiar, the woman wearing a headscarf moved in her heart. Master, do we want to go now? Nodded. Come on, let's go in. The three masters and disciples took a step forward and felt a blur in front of their eyes. In an instant, the situation changed. The once quiet courtyard disappeared, and a bluestone platform covering thousands of acres appeared in front of us. The bluestone platform is divided into 3 parts. The most conspicuous part is the smallest, no more than half an acre from left to right, and the highest and most conspicuous part. There are 6 lotus thrones placed on it. This is, without a doubt, the best position in the sermon field. Facing 6 lotus thrones, 36 rows, 72 columns, and 2,592 purple futons. On both sides of this purple futon are red and cyan futons. There are nearly 10,000 red futons, and more cyan ones, about 20,000 to 30,000. Then there is gray, about 60,000 to 70,000 people. Although there are many futons, none of them are empty. Densely packed cultivators sat on different futons according to their respective cultivation levels. On the purple futon is the Yuan Shen monk. The red ones are the nascent soul realm monks, the cyan ones are the golden core realm monks, and the gray ones are the monks below the golden core realm. The densely packed monks are almost touching the sky. Whether it is the first time or those who have been here before, they all marvel at how many people there are. Ye Bin, who was sitting on the purple futon, marveled in his heart. Fellow Taoist Luo, were there so many people at the last sermon? Luo Xian shook his head. At most it's only a third of what it is now. Looking at the dense flow of people around, he not only sighed. This is the first time I have seen so many monks. Ye Bin nodded in agreement. But the proportion of Yuan Shen monks here is too high. The Yuan Shen monks are highly cultivated. After knowing the news about Genren Kongshan's sermon, they can come quickly even if they live overseas. But the Yuanying and Jindan realm monks want to cross millions of miles or even thousands of miles. Thousands of miles away, it's not easy to get to Chang'an. Luo Xian continued, below the golden core realm, it's even more difficult. The nascent Soul Realm and Golden Core Realm in front of us may only be in the northwest, Sichuan Lake and Central Plains areas, while those below the Golden Core Realm may only be monks within 1,000 miles nearby. For monks below the Yuanshen realm, the world of Shushan is simply too big. But the Central Plains is millions of miles in radius. Except for the Yuanshen monks, if you want to cross the Yuanying realm, it will take at least several months. Moreover, there are many demons and evil cultivators in the Shushan world. If you accidentally encounter it, you will be beaten easily. If you are not careful, it will be easy. The consequences of extracting the soul and refining the soul. Therefore, unless there is something important, no one will wander around outside. Xieshan and Yeben nodded at the same time. They have also come all the way from the Xiantian, Jindan, and Yuanying realms, and they are very aware of the situation of low-level monks. Ancestor Xin Kong, Shentuo Yuxiu, Poor God Linghuan, Kui Wogu, Meiguan Taoist Si Taixu. Tisk, I didn't expect there are so many old friends here, Yeben said with a smile. Among the many Yuanshen monks, she, Xieshan and Luozian were in the front position. When she observed others, of course she also fell into the eyes of others. In fact, the Yuanshen monks present were surprised at the scale of this sermon, which actually attracted so many famous monks in the spiritual world. Of course, there are also some monks who are not famous at ordinary times and have few friends. They are dedicated to cultivating and have great abilities. Others are just surprised. But Qi Shuming and ascetic Tuchuo, who had changed their appearance and were sitting in the crowd, didn't look very good. A teacher is someone who teaches, and resolves doubts. After today, all the Taoists present will respect Su Junming with the courtesy of half a master. What followed was great prestige and an increasingly respected status. The invisible value will make Chongshan Academy's reputation grow in the righteous way and even in the entire spiritual world. For Ime, who aspires to lead the society and lead the killing of gods, it is a huge threat. Although they were anxious, they couldn't think of a good way to pay attention for a while. After all, the opponent is powerful and crushes them with majestic momentum. None of the familiar methods used to deal with the evil sect can be used. The only consolation may be that the Chongshan lineage and the Taicheng Mountain Demon sect's ancestral court have become a life-or-death feud. It would be great if Master is still here. Qi Shuming thought of this more than once. Since the death of Xianzhenzi, the big ship of Ime has become increasingly difficult to control. Boom! The loud bell suddenly rang. The noisy sounds in the field stopped instantly. On the high platform at the front, 6 lotus seats bloomed with light. In an instant, there were thousands of auspicious colors and thousands of rays of light. The auspicious atmosphere enveloped the entire pulpit. Such an astonishing movement instantly attracted everyone's attention. Under the gaze of everyone, 6 figures slowly appeared on the lotus platform. Everyone looked at it, amazed, and suddenly became excited. It was as if ordinary people in the secular world saw the star they had been waiting for a long time. There was reverence in his eyes. Su Junming, the true king of Chongshan. The blissful boy Li Jingxiu. God Nfantra. Qingyang Daijun. The dust monk. Master Heavenly Crazy. The coercion emanating from the 6 earth immortal level powers was overwhelming, weighing heavily on everyone's hearts. I'll wait to see the true king. The voices of tens of thousands of people combined together, although a bit chaotic, the sound filled the sky and was powerful. Su Junming waved his sleeves. Fellow Taoists, please excuse me and take a seat. Thank you, Zhenjun. Those who spoke were all monks who had listened to the sermon in the past and received favors. Except for a few people with dark minds, most of them were sincerely grateful to Su Junming for preaching without hesitation. This performance instantly made Qi Shuming and ascetic Taochuo's faces turn darker. There is no doubt that in the Sankan area, the prestige of Chongshan Academy has far exceeded that of Ime. Today is the 7th time for Pandeo to preach. What is rare is that fellow Taoist monks Gle, Fentuo, Qingyang, Lingchen, and Tianqi are also here to participate in this grand event. It is really a blessing. It's a poor honor. In front of so many people, the 5 of them couldn't say much. They smiled slightly, nodded, and then stopped. This year's sermon will be held for 7 days, similar to previous years. After saying this, Su Junming did not waste any time. With a thought in his heart, he sat down on the lotus platform and flew into the air, stopping after about 10 feet. Facing everyone's gaze, his eyes were slightly closed, and the 3-foot Qingyun flew out from the top door holding the green lotus Dao fruit and various natal magic weapons. The kids made a fuss all night yesterday, and I really have no energy to write today. My head seems to be filled with lead. Edit and revise, this is the only chapter left, please bear with me. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 596. The Qingyun above Su Junming's head shines brightly, and the 5 colors and 10 lights cover the heaven and earth. Against the backdrop of the aura, which was as vast as the sun but not dazzling, he looked solemn and sacred at this moment. Under everyone's attention, the figure split into 2, 2 into 4, 4 into 8, and soon 12 incarnations appeared in the air. 12 incarnations spoke mysterious sounds at the same time, respectively describing the 5 elements, wind and thunder, yin and yang, alchemy, swordsmanship, and weapon refining. Each Tao method can be accurately delivered to the ears of those who practice it, but it will not affect others. Moreover, the content will be either simple or profound depending on the level of the monk. Even Li Jingxiu and Fenchuo, who have become earth immortals, people who are close to true immortals, feel that it is of great benefit. 3 feet of Qingyun held the Dao fruit and rose from the heads of the 5 people. It marks that the 5 people have truly entered the state of enlightenment. Yuan-Shen monks have not yet become immortals and do not have Qingyun and Dao fruit. But all kinds of strange spirits followed the top door and floated 3 feet above the head. In comparison, the different appearances of monks in the nascent soul realm and the golden core realm are not so eye-catching. And below the golden core realm, there is no change. The lower the cultivation level, the worse the qualifications, and the less Taoism can be understood. Although Su Junming has been able to explain it in simple terms, some people with low cultivation levels still find it difficult to understand. Such people will probably not go very far on the path of spiritual practice. To avoid disturbing others, they sent the other party out of Chongshan Academy with a wave of his hand. Looking at the city of Chang'an not far away, the people who woke up sighed in frustration. They were steady-minded and knew how to repay their kindness. They bowed their hands and turned around to leave. Those who were cold-hearted just left cursing. There were as many as 60,000 to 70,000 monks sitting on grey futons, but in the end, only less than 3,000 were able to stay for 7 days. These 3,000 monks have the qualifications to achieve the golden elixir, Yuanying, and Yuan-Shen in the future. As for whether he can become an immortal, it also depends on themselves. Any immortal who has shed his mortal qualities needs not only qualifications, understanding, and character, but also opportunity. Boom! With the bell ringing straight into the soul, everyone woke up from the state of enlightenment. There was a look of unfinished expression on his face. The previously obscure avenues became clear under Su Junming's explanation. What you gain in 7 days is better than 3 years of hard work. Looking at the ethereal and vast aura in the air, the majestic Lord Chongshan, almost everyone had a look of reverence on their faces. Even Qi Shuming and ascetic Tao Chuo had complicated expressions. After listening to the Tao this time, the 2 of them also made great progress in Taoism and were much closer to becoming immortals. With the cause and effect of this preaching, when Su Junming meets again, the 2 of them should treat him with the courtesy of half a master. It just so happened that the 2 of them were disciples of Yimei and were competitors with Chongshan Academy. If Qi Shuming, the leader of a sect, and the ascetic Tutu, the elder in the sect, also voluntarily lived under Chongshan, then his status as the leader of the Ime righteous path would probably be lost. It's really not guaranteed. Not to mention the complicated thoughts in the two people's hearts. Others who had benefited bowed and saluted. I'd like to thank you for your kindness in preaching. Even Li Jingxiu, Fen Tuo and other immortals showed respect on their faces. Everyone, please get up. After everyone sat down again, Su Junming continued. The 1,000-year catastrophe of killing immortals is approaching, and the world of spiritual practice is full of demons and monsters. People of the righteous way should help each other and resist the catastrophe. As a person of the righteous way, I have been practicing for many years. Fortunately, I have achieved some achievements, and I am willing to share my experience of enlightenment. Share it with all your colleagues. Let's all advance together and retreat together to resist the catastrophe. You really have a broad mind, I admire you so much. After finishing speaking, a middle-aged man wearing a red Taoist robe and carrying a long sword continued. I am dedicated to seeking the Tao, and I hope that Master can take pity on our difficulty in practicing cultivation and accept him as his disciple. As soon as these words came out, almost all the casual cultivators' eyes lit up. In the past, when they woke up from enlightenment, Su Junming had already disappeared. They wanted to be their disciples, but there was no way to do so. Nowadays, it is rare to be here, and those who are interested will naturally not want to miss the opportunity. Please take pity on me, Master, and accept me as my disciple. I will definitely practice hard, get up early and go to bed late, to serve my mentor. I am also willing to become a real person. In an instant, countless people started making noises. Su Junming frowned slightly. Quiet. It was not a loud voice, but it easily suppressed all the noise from everyone. Pandeo is the founder of a religion. If you want to join my Chongshan sect, it is also an honor for my Chongshan lineage. However, my Chongshan lineage has its own rules. Those who have not passed my test will not be accepted. I wonder what kind of test it is. A woman in a purple dress asked. Su Junming glanced at her, waved his hand, and a black spiritual light fell to the ground, instantly transforming into a black stone door 3 feet high and 2 feet wide, with a relief of gourd vines entwined. The stone door flashed with light, and several lotus seats with rich aura appeared on the top. If you enter this gate and pass the test, you can sit on the lotus throne and become my direct descendant. If you fail to pass, you will not be destined to me. If you want to try your fate with me, please come in now. Su Junming stretched out his hand and pointed, and the stone gate expanded instantly, becoming 300 feet in size in the blink of an eye. The majestic stone gate towered over everyone's heads, exuding an air of desolation. Boom, as if the heaven and earth were shaking. The thick stone door slowly opened, and the interior was not completely dark, but instead flashed with countless lights, including red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, black and white. After everyone looked at each other, they rushed towards the stone gate. Of course, not everyone went in. Those monks who had already joined Wudang, Kunlun, Jellyfish Palace and other sects remained where they were. They have their own sect, so of course they will not betray their master and join another sect. Qi Shuming and Su Xin Tuchuo also stayed where they were. When they saw Su Junming's eyes sweeping over them, their scalps went numb for fear of being exposed. If they were recognized, they would be embarrassed. Fortunately, Su Junming's eyes stayed on them for a moment and then looked back. He naturally recognized the identities of Qi Shuming and ascetic Tuchuo, but he was too lazy to reveal them. He competed with the Ime sect for the position of leader of the right path, but he was unwilling to use some vulgar means. The right path was to crush them with majestic power. Otherwise, if the position is not correct, there will be future troubles. Senior brother, have we been recognized? Qi Shuming was suspicious. Probably not. Otherwise, how could he let go of such a good opportunity to embarrass us in front of everyone? That's true. Qi Shuming breathed a sigh of relief. After he relaxed, he turned around and said, "There are many people coming to listen to the sermon, and there must be many people with outstanding talents among them. If Su Junming is accepted as his disciple, the strength of the Chongshan lineage will definitely increase greatly." The ascetic Tutu lamented in his heart. It wasn't like this when Master Chenmiajin was around. All heroes in the world want to worship under his disciples and practice Taoism. It's just that Master Chenmei rarely teaches Taoism, and his recruitment of disciples depends entirely on chance. Even so, he only accepted more than 20 people. Imei's current prestige is achieved through the concerted efforts of all the disciples. Today, Su Junming repeats the story of Chenmiajin, opening the mountain gate widely and collecting good materials. Coupled with the existing disciples of Chongshan Academy, they will definitely rise up and become a powerful and righteous sect that can rival Imei. Master, how much better it would have been if you hadn't ascended in the first place. The ascetic Tutu sighed secretly in his heart. Now the Imei sect has lost a powerful and banner figure who can lead Imei. Although his junior brother Qi Shuming is better than Master Nai Mei in terms of skill and courage, his strength is not even close to that of him. In the world of spiritual practice, if one is not strong enough, no matter how good his skills and courage are, he is nothing more than a tree without roots and water without a source. Congratulations to fellow Taoist, after this test, I have been able to acquire many talented people, and the Chongshan lineage has become richer. Li Jingxiu, the Master of Bliss, flew over and said with a smile. If we weren't used to being free, we might as well be like Taoist fellow Su and recruit a few disciples to pass on the Taoism. Qingyang Daijun said with a smile. But this poor monk has never thought of this. Monk Liao Chen said. Congratulations to the real person. Because Master Tianqi has the lowest cultivation level, he is an earthly immortal, but his attitude is always respectful. Fenchuo didn't say much, and was even a little worried. Several fellow Buddhists who were close friends with her planned to assist Imei in completing the killing and taking the opportunity to accumulate merit and achieve Buddhahood. Nowadays, the Chongshan lineage is booming, its prestige is increasing day by day, and its foundation is getting stronger, and it can vaguely rival Imei. There was a risk that the old plans would come to nothing, and naturally I felt very complicated. But she owed a lot of karma to the Chongshan lineage. She was caught between Imei and Chongshan, and she was in a dilemma. As for the idea of abandoning Imei and turning to help Chongshan Academy to complete the massacre, Fenchuo had never thought about it. One is that God is on Imei's side, and the other is that she is determined and will not change her mind easily. Everyone is ridiculous. Even if someone passes the test, they may not be willing to join Pandao's section. Su Junming said with a smile. Haha, fellow Taoist, you are so humble. After this sermon, I am afraid that no one will want to join your fellow Taoist. Qingyang Taoist Lord smiled. As he spoke, he looked at Su Junming with a hint of amazement in his eyes. Because of the sermon just now, the other party showed his profound attainments in the 12 sects of Taoism. In addition to the Huishan Taoism that was once taught to them, there are 13 kinds. Although the other party may not be a fellow practitioner of the 13 ways, such a profound level in the 13 ways also reveals Su Junming's extraordinary and astonishing understanding. It is precisely because of this understanding that so many monks want to join his disciples. For those who have a certain foundation, it may be easy to find a master, but it is even more difficult to find a master who is suitable for the path they practice. If he had not been accustomed to the free life and had become an immortal, Qingyang Daijun would not be able to help but try the divine gate. Su Junming and the others had just chatted for a few words when they saw the 300-foot-tall human soul divine gate next to them suddenly bloom with a vast aura. The strong movement instantly attracted everyone's attention. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 597. Fellow Taoist, did someone pass? Li Jingxiu said in surprise. Su Junming nodded, feeling a little surprised. There are 3 tests of heaven, earth, and man in the soul god section. The human test is the easiest, and the earth test is the most difficult. Since this time is to accept a disciple, it is of course the most difficult land character test. But in less than a cup of tea, someone can break through the land character test and stand out. It was somewhat beyond his expectation. It is indeed worthy of being called the middle thousand world. There are so many talented people, far better than the small thousand world. I think back in the Liuzai world, outside Zhongzhou city, hundreds of thousands of people entered the human soul divine gate test, but only one Yan Chixia passed in the end. Staring at the blooming lotus, gradually, a beautiful and dignified young woman wearing a pale pink dress and a purple gauze covering her head full of black hair gradually appeared on it. Amitabha, this girl really has immortal roots and bones. No wonder she passed the test so quickly, monk Liao Chen said. The so-called immortal roots and immortal bones are the innate Taoist bodies. The innate Tao body is also the best cultivation physique that ordinary people can obtain. Especially this woman has a rare Taiyan body. Su Junming looked at the other party. He was very aware of the difficulty of his test. Qualifications were important, but what he focused on most was his understanding and perseverance. Being able to quickly break out of 365 levels of illusion tests means that this person not only has excellent understanding, but also has amazing perseverance. Su Junming was just about to bring this person over, but he never thought that the aura of the human soul divine sect would arise again. A tall, slightly hunched middle-aged man, his figure gradually became more solid. Master De Fang, Divine Camel Yuxiu. Master Tianke said subconsciously. It turned out to be him. Su Junming nodded inwardly. Among the Shushan swordsmen, among the many earthly immortals, the one who impressed him the most was Yuxiu. It's not because of how high his cultivation level is, but because among the people who only know how to respect the way of heaven and obey heaven's destiny, he is the only one who believes that man will conquer heaven. He repeatedly defied nature and was eventually besieged by more than a dozen comrades with similar cultivation levels to him. Even so, they could not kill him but could only seal him. If it had been anyone else who had been sealed, they might have perished. Not only did Yuxiu not have it, but his cultivation greatly increased and he became immortal. He broke the seal and was born without the help of others. His cultivation level is not inferior to that of his uncle, Taoist Master Heshe. Moreover, when it comes to hating evil as much as hatred, it is the best in Shushan. Kill all the brothers, sisters-in-law, uncles and nephews of my wife, Han Xianzi, and their family of dozens, who are guilty of serious crimes, and leave no one alive. Killing relatives for the sake of justice is nothing more than this. Su Junming stretched out his hand and the two of them slowly floated down in front of him. You two have passed my postgraduate entrance examination, are you willing to become my disciple? Yi Xiu glanced at the woman beside him. He was so arrogant that he originally thought that he would be the first to pass the test, but he didn't expect that there would be someone walking in front of him. After hearing the inquiry, Yuxiu bowed his hands and said loudly, Master, forgive me. Yuxiu has learned from me. This attempt is just to test myself. I hope that Master will forgive you. The 5 elements true qi he cultivated is extremely powerful and has a complete inheritance. His elders are not weaker than Yimei, so there is no need to join the Chongshan lineage. Su Junming nodded slightly, this result was within his expectation. His eyes turned to the woman next to him. The latter looked calm. Junior Miao Chufang, in her previous life, she was one of the 4 evils in Bianshan, the Red Flower Ghost Mother. As soon as these words came out, Li Jingxiu, Fen Tuo, Master Tianke, and Yi Xiu's expressions changed at the same time. The 4 evils in Bianshan are the evil masters who have achieved Yuan Shen since the time of Changmei Jinren. Especially the Red Flower Ghost Mother is one of the top experts. The Red Flower Ghost Mother has dismissed her disciples and reincarnated to cultivate in order to seek righteousness. I thought it was a rumor. Now that I see you, I know that this statement is true, Li Jingxiu said slowly. Speaking of which, Red Flower Ghost Mother is also of the same generation as him. Miao Chufang smiled lightly. Now that you know you've taken the wrong path, it's not too late to start over. Li Jingxiu nodded slightly, having said that, there are not many people who can give up hundreds of years of hard work and start over. If you Taoist friends have such perseverance, the path to golden immortality is not far away. Thank you, Master Gle, for your compliment. After a pause, he looked at Su Junming. I dare to ask the real person, in my previous life, I left a house in the Yin vein here, but it fell into the hands of the real person. Su Junming nodded. With a gesture of his hand, a sarcophagus flew from a distance and slowly landed in front of Miao Chufang. This is the physical body of the previous life. The sarcophagus instantly became transparent, and a beautiful woman in red appeared inside. As soon as he patted the gourd on his waist, a red spirit flower as big as the mouth of a bowl slowly flew out. Seeing it, Miao Chufang's eyes lit up instantly. This is the Taiying Coal Jade spirit flower you left behind. After my sacrifice and training, it has now turned into a fairy sword. As soon as the mana was activated, the sword energy on the red flower surged, and the orange-red sword light curved and flew into the air like a real dragon flying into the sky. In an instant, it was like a beautiful rainbow hanging in the blue sky. Even with Miao Chufang's determination, seeing this powerful and beautiful sword, excitement that she hadn't seen for a long time appeared on her face. Su Junming shook his hand, took back the sword light, and transformed it into a fairy flower as big as a bowl. The immortal seed Taiyinhan Jade spirit flower you left here has been acquired by me. If you are willing, I will exchange it with this fairy sword. If you are not willing, I will return the immortal seed to you. Although it is an unwritten rule in the spiritual world, after reincarnation, if the things from the previous life are obtained by others, they can no longer be held accountable. But Su Junming is now the leader of a sect and his prestige is growing day by day. He does not want to get the name of greed because of a fairy seed. Besides, whether it was an immortal seed or an immortal weapon, it was nothing extraordinary to him now. If you give it up, let it go. The real person has a broad mind, and the younger generation admires him greatly. He is willing to give up his immortal seed in exchange for this immortal sword. Su Junming nodded and waved his hand, and the red flowers slowly fell into Miao Chufang's hands. When your spiritual consciousness is immersed, you can feel it instantly. This red flower was stronger than she imagined. My heart is even more joyful. Just as he was about to speak, the human soul door next to him suddenly shone brightly. Actually, figures appeared on two lotus seats. The first one is a middle-aged man wearing a green shirt, a high crown and a belt, with an elegant temperament. Next to him is a Taoist nun wearing a long white skirt. Su Junming waved, and the two flew close. Master of Admiralty Island, you and I meet again. The Taoist nun in white, Ye Ben, bowed. Ye Ben meets the real person. Su Junming nodded slightly and turned his eyes. Are you Xie Shan from Kinshifan Che Yinziazu, the top of Wuyi Mountain? Exactly, the disciple. Xie Shan said quickly. You two have passed the test, but are you willing to join my Chongshan sect? My brother and sister have long admired the virtues of real people and are willing to become our disciples, Xie Shan said. Next to him, Ye Ben also nodded. Su Junming nodded and said, Ye Ben, the fifth disciple of ours, Su Huang, has reached the middle stage of Earth Immortal. He is wearing the Ice Deo Dharma crown and is the best in this world. His path is consistent with yours. Are you willing to join her disciple? Ye Ben frowned. Why doesn't the real person accept me? I already have disciples who have inherited the Ice Deo, and I will not accept another one. Su Junming shook his head. When he accepts disciples, he values the essence rather than the number. It is enough to have one successor for each sect, but any more is a waste of energy. Moreover, although Ye Bin passed the test of the Dzi divine gate, compared to Su Huang, who was born as an ice phoenix, he was far behind in terms of both aptitude and understanding. He glanced at her. Are you willing? Ye Bin frowned and thought for a moment, then shook his head. She is also a proud and arrogant person. Although there are many benefits to joining the Chongshan lineage, with her cultivation and seniority, if she is only a third-generation disciple, she is not as good as being free on Admiralty Island. Anyway, she doesn't lack inheritance, but without the guidance of a famous teacher like Su Junming, the road to becoming an immortal will be slower. Su Junming nodded and looked at Xie Shan. I see that you have achieved Taoism through the method of fire. The disciples of Kongshan's lineage who practice the 5 elements of Taoism such as metal, wood, water, fire, and earth are all taught by my junior brother, the 5 virtues true monarch. If you are willing, I can write a letter for you to take and go to the Snake King Temple in Kangmang Mountain to find him. It will be up to him to decide how to arrange it. Are you willing? Xie Shan shook his head. Thank you for your respect, master. My sworn sister Ye Bin and I have a deep friendship. Since she has no chance to worship the mountain, I have no choice but to say sorry. Brother. Ye Bin was moved. Xie Shan glanced at her, smiled and nodded. Su Junming didn't force it either. Now that you have made up your mind, then retreat. The two of them bowed, and just as they were about to turn around and leave, the human soul divine gate next to them once again bloomed with thousands of auras. 2 lotus pedestals appeared in the eyes of everyone with 2 people in the heavy rain of light. On the lotus seat on the left, there is a little girl about 6 or 7 years old sitting cross-legged. She has a double bun, an apple face, and big round eyes. She looks very beautiful. Wearing a light pink skirt, she is delicate and cute. Next to her, there sat a girl wearing a purple sword uniform and carrying a sword. She looked about 14 or 15 years old. Her high ponytail was casually draped behind her back. With her oval face, she looked heroic. The little girl is just innately cultivated, while the girl in the sword outfit has advanced golden elixir levels. The 2 of them were led here by Su Junming before they could be questioned. The little girl was already calling master and threw herself into the arms of Miao Chufang next to her. The girl in the sword suit naturally stood next to her. They are your disciples. Back to the real person, that's right, Miao Chufang said respectfully. In that case, just take them back. Su Junming waved his hand. Since the other party had already learned from him, of course he would not join his Chongshan lineage. No, this junior is willing to become a disciple. You've just. Before he finished speaking, Su Junming suddenly remembered that Miao Chufang had not said she was unwilling just now, but before she could answer, she was interrupted by the sound of Ye Bin and Xie Shan passing the test. Are you really willing? Miao Chufang nodded. Senior has high moral standards and excellent cultivation. Junior admires him very much and is willing to become his disciple. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 598. Chapter 586 Miao Chufang. Miao Chufang came here originally just to get back the magical body and immortal roots she left here in her previous life. But after knowing that this place was used as a dojo by Chongshan True Lord Su Junming, he knew that there was little hope. It was just brought up as a test. There was no proof and the other party could have denied it. Unexpectedly, Su Junming not only did not deny it, but also gave her an extremely precious Zifu immortal artifact in exchange. This is a middle-grade immortal weapon from the four immortals, and she has never gotten one in her 3 lifetimes. Such a noble and honest behavior instantly broke Miao Chufang's heart. Coupled with the profound cultivation and Taoism displayed by true monarch Chongshan during his sermons, as well as the prosperity of Kongshan's lineage, this made her want to become a disciple. After Su Junming nodded, "I don't have any disciples who practice Taiyang Dharma. Since you are willing to become a disciple, I will accept you." Miao Chufang knelt down. The 2 disciples behind him also knelt down in a hurry. "I, Chongshan Academy, have only 5 rules. First, you must not bully your master and destroy your ancestors. Second, you must not act recklessly and kill in vain. Third, you are not allowed to show off or exaggerate in front of others. Fourth, don't be arrogant and extravagant, and be greedy and greedy. Fifth, don't be jealous of the talented and capable, and harm your fellow disciples. These 5 rules, you can probably abide by them. If a disciple violates the 6 rules, he will be punished by his teacher," Miao Chufang said firmly. After nodding with a smile, Su Junming said, "In that case, today under the witness of all my colleagues, I will accept you as my 7th disciple." Disciples bow down to their mentor. Su Junming waved his hand, and the bronze mirror projection and Sankei Shenmen projection flew into Miao Chufang's body, which was regarded as recognizing his status as his direct disciple. "Now that you have started, I will briefly tell you about our situation." Because Su Junming transmitted his voice through his spiritual consciousness, Fenchuo and others could not hear it. "Explain to yourself, there are 8 first-generation disciples in our section headed by me. Your second uncle is named Tai Chi Yin and Yang True Lord Renwuji, and your third uncle is named Tai Yi 5 Virtues True Lord Dragon Emperor. That's the one currently in southern Xinjiang. Your fourth master uncle, Tai Yuan Zai Wei Zhenjun Ao Tian, your fifth master uncle, sixth master uncle, seventh master uncle, and eighth master uncle have other secrets. It's up to you to elaborate on them when the time comes. I am a second-generation disciple of Chongshan. Counting you, there are 8 direct disciples. Your senior brother Fuxian Great Sage Qinzhong, your second senior brother Wuji Zhenjian Lin Zhengying, your third senior sister Kongsang Fairy Jiao Shaoxin, your fourth senior brother Beard Sword Master Yan Chixia, your fifth senior sister Bing Huang Fairy Su Huang. These 5 have all achieved the way of heavenly immortals, that is, earthly immortals. Miao Chufang's heart trembled. She originally thought that the foundation of the Chongshan lineage was strong enough, but it was only now that she discovered that the strength hidden under the water was even stronger. If nothing else, the first generation of disciples must have been immortals, and there were as many as 8 of them. There are already 5 people in the second generation who have become immortals. That adds up to 13 people. 13 immortals, even if they are just earthly immortals, they are still a huge force. Your sixth senior brother is a direct disciple of your third senior uncle, Emperor Long, named Zhuo Long. Your seventh senior brother, Chen Lin, was once the founder of the Wutai sect, the Tai Hunyuan Patriarch. Miao Chufang's face instantly showed a look of shock. Fortunately, she had a very good temperament and didn't scream out in surprise. After taking a few deep breaths quickly, "Master, didn't Tai Hunyuan Patriarch self-destruct and die? His soul was saved by me. I refined a Dharma body and allowed him to possess it and be reborn." "I see. As for the third generation of disciples, your second and fourth senior brothers all have disciples who have become earth immortals. As for the specific ones, I will tell you later." Yes. She had received too much shocking news, and now that she heard it again, her heart was numb. After explaining the general situation of the sect, Su Junming cancelled the spiritual message transmission. With a pad of the green gourd on his waist, a golden 4-legged small tripod, a red gourd and a white jade pillar flew into Miao Chufang's hands. The powerful fairy lights on the 3 treasures all indicate that they are all Zifa fairy weapons. As soon as the three Zifu immortal weapons were released, everyone watching the ceremony, including Li Jingxiu, Fen Tuo, and others, not to mention Miao Chufang, were all shocked. This cauldron is called Juning Ding. It contains innate spiritual fire and has the ability to refine elixirs and weapons. I will give it to you today. Juyi cauldron lost its core chaos Yuanfei, and its power plummeted. Su Junming used the remaining materials to create this middle-grade immortal weapon. Considering that Miao Chufang was good at refining weapons, he only passed it on to her today. Feeling the aura of Juyi cauldron, which was several times stronger than the previous red flower, Miao Chufang only felt that the master's kindness was too great. Compared with the days when I was lonely and oppressed by the righteous way in my previous life, I felt a mixture of sadness and joy, and almost shed tears. The red gourd is the identity symbol of my Chongshan lineage, and every second-generation disciple has it. This jade pillar is called the earth-fixing divine pillar. It has the power to seal the sky and lock the earth. You will understand the specific usage after you practice it. Miao Chufang took a deep breath and suppressed the excitement in her heart. Master, I already have a red flower sword, and with this red gourd accompanying me, it is enough. Master, please take back the Juning Ding and the Ding Di divine pillar and give them to other senior brothers and sisters. I am deeply gratified that you can think so. However, your senior brother and sister are accompanied by immortal weapons, and they are not lacking in these. With a wave of his sleeves, a strong secret energy lifted Miao Chufang up. Put your things away and stand aside for now. Hearing that the master's tone was not to be violated, Miao Chufang did not dare to neglect, and quickly put away the three immortal weapons and stood aside. Looking at her, Ye Ben and Xieshan felt a little regretful in their hearts. If they had just become apprentices, they would definitely have been rewarded with immortal weapons. It's too late to regret now. Looking at the boy and little girl kneeling on the ground. They are all your disciples. After Miao Chufang nodded, I also have a big disciple Xie Hongying under my sect, who is currently a layman and has not come with me. After Su Junming nodded, he waved his hand casually, and a red ball, a cyan crescent moon, and a yellow-skinned gourd flew into her hand. This is a treasure given to her by my master. The red sphere and the cyan crescent moon are called the sun and moon wheel, which are spiritual treasures he obtained from Xiun Palace. Being able to be hidden in the fire hole of the central main pillar by Tianyi Golden Mother is certainly not an ordinary thing. Later, after being trained by Su Junming, its power increased to a higher level. The disciple took her to thank her mentor. After Su Junming nodded, his eyes changed. What are your two names? The older girl carrying a sword kept her composure under the spotlight. Reporting to the patriarch, the disciple's name is Lu Sunyang, and he is the second disciple of the master. I see that you like swords, so I will give you this Lenyu sword. A blue long sword flew into Lu Sunyang's hand. It is also a spiritual treasure. Thank you, patriarch. Lu Sunyang was happy in her heart. Although she had a treasure given by her master, no one else had more treasures in their own hands. Su Junming smiled lightly. Master doesn't favor one thing over another. I will also give you the Xuexia clothes and the yellow gourd. Thank you, patriarch. Lu Sunyang happily took it. Looking at the little girl kneeling on the ground at the end, Su Junming felt pity in his heart. Waved. Come here, come to the patriarch. The little girl got up from the ground and walked timidly to Su Junming. Ancestor. The clear and tender voice made Su Junming very happy. Perhaps it was because of his daughter's plot in his previous life that he was particularly partial to the little girls among his disciples or disciples. Tell the patriarch, what is your name? My name is Miao Ying. Miao Ying? What a nice name. Who gave it to you? Master, the little girl said coquettishly. Touching her little head, Su Junming spread his left palm, and two spiritual lights flew out from it, and soon turned into an aqua blue phoenix hairpin and a jade ring with bright spiritual light. With a thought in his heart, he realized that most of the power of two top spiritual treasures had been sealed by him, which was just suitable for Miao Ying, who was currently in the late Xiantian stage, to use. Here, this is the treasure that Master gave you. Thank you, Master. The little girl happily took it and played with it from side to side, unable to put it down. Like it? Like. Tie the storage cord around the little guy's waist. Go find your master. He nodded his little head. Thank you, Master. After that, he stepped on his deerskin boots and jumped back to Miao Chufang, holding the two treasures in his palms as if they were offering treasures. Master, look, the treasure that Master gave me. Hurry and put it away, practice hard in the future, and don't let down your Master's teachings. Yes, Master. Amitabha, congratulations to fellow Taoist Su for gaining a good disciple, Monk Liao Chen said with a smile. Su Junming smiled and nodded. He was very satisfied with Miao Chufang as his disciple. He had superb qualifications and perseverance, and he also had 3 disciples with top qualifications. It is a pity that except for the 3 masters and apprentices Yishiu, Miao Chufang, Ye Bin, and Xie Shan, no one can pass the test of the human soul divine sect. In about 2 hours, all those who wanted to become disciples passed the test of the human soul divine sect. Almost every cultivator is a proud and arrogant person. After all, they have much more power than ordinary people who are born, old, sick and die. Therefore, in order to prevent these guys from being dissatisfied after being eliminated and making noise again, Su Junming recorded everyone's performance in the illusion into their consciousness when they were eliminated. But if you feel a little ashamed, you won't say anything more. Everyone. The mighty sound was accurately sent to everyone's ears. Although you have no connection with the Chongshan sect, from now on, Pandeo will preach here for 7 days every year, and you can all come and listen. In addition, Pandeo ordered me to place a stone gate here. Anyone who can pass the test can enter our Chongshan gate. After saying this, Su Junming stretched out his hand and pointed at the Qinglong seat on the pulpit, and a bluestone gate 10 feet high and 9 feet wide appeared with a rumbling sound. Form a seal with both hands and put the projection of the human soul gate into it. There is only 1 chapter for today. It will be updated as usual tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 599. Chapter 587 Kaifang City. Since the real person intends to preach to the world, why don't you take us all into the sect and teach? Moreover, this Chongshan Academy is open to the public. Even the sons of ordinary people from poor families can come to study. Why can't we monks? The speaker was a middle-aged man wearing a black robe, with a slightly pale face and sinister eyes. Su Junming looked over with cold eyes. Den Yin, I am not a real person with long eyebrows. If you want to do evil here, I will not tolerate you. Den Yin. Almost all the veteran Yuan Shen monks were instantly in an uproar. Most of them have been practicing for hundreds of years. When they first entered Taoism, Master Chenmei had not yet ascended. At that time, most people in the spiritual community knew that he and his junior brother Den Yin fell in love and killed each other. Fellow Taoist, Den Yin has been sealed in Xingxiu Sea by Master Chenmei. This matter is known to everyone in the righteous way, Li Jingxiu said in surprise. Amitabha, this nun can bear witness to this matter, Fenchuo said. Su Junming looked calm and stared at the middle-aged man dozens of feet away, whose expression changed slightly. With a flick of his hand, a bright silver brilliance, like light and electricity, flew straight towards the opponent. The man's face suddenly changed, and he transformed into a blood shadow, flying back like lightning. Blood nerve. The crowd instantly burst into uproar and became a mess. The bad reputation of blood nerve is still spread throughout the entire cultivation world even after hundreds of years. Seeing the blood shadow rushing toward his face, feeling the coldness that penetrated his bones, Sitegzu, as a primordial spirit, had a splitting liver and gallbladder, and actually forgot to avoid it. Call. The strange wind sound stopped instantly. Seeing the blood that almost touched the tip of his nose, Sitegzu's forehead instantly broke out into fine cold sweat, and his back was completely soaked. He walked around on the edge of life and death and retreated instantly. The golden crown on the head sheds heavy golden light, covering the body. After feeling a little relieved, I saw that the blood shadow was enveloped in a silver light, as if frozen, and could no longer move. Thinking of the silver light that just shot from the front, Sitegzu took a deep breath and bowed. Ma Guan Taoist Sitegzu thanks Su Zhenjun for saving his life. After Su Junming nodded towards him, he stretched out his hand. The blood shadow flew backwards and was put into the green gourd at his waist. Amitabha, the blood nerves have returned to the world, and the world is troubled again, Fenchuo sighed. With her eyesight and knowledge, she could certainly see that the blood shadow just now was just a clone, not Denyen's true body. Don't worry, none. Even if Denyen is born again, with Su Daio's magical power, he can still be subjugated, Li Jingxiu said. What Master Gle said is true, Master Tianqi agreed. Su Junming smiled lightly when he heard this and didn't say much. As the younger brother of Master Chenmei, if Denyen were born, he would probably be the first to find bad luck in Imei. He is not noble enough to prevent disaster for Imei. After being interrupted by blood god son Denyen, no one mentioned the matter of apprenticeship again. Su Junming waved his sleeves, and nearly 3,000 7-foot platforms rose up on the stage where Hunyuan Ruyi was listening. The poor Taoist feels that the monks all over the world are suffering in their cultivation, so we have set up a market specifically for our monks here to facilitate the righteous monks all over the world. We can trade all the necessary magic weapons, spiritual materials, elixirs, etc. here. Pandeo promises that everyone who trades here will be protected by our Chongshan lineage. Anyone who dares to rob or harm others will be severely punished by our Chongshan lineage. The last few words were like thunder from the sky, shaking the mind. Everyone present could detect the strong warning and determination in them. The market opens once a year, and all righteous monks from all over the world can come here. As the host, Pandeo will set an example today. As soon as he patted the green gourd on his waist, hundreds of streams of light flew into a stone platform. Because there were too many things, the stone platform expanded rapidly and soon became 3 feet in size. There are hundreds of treasures on it, blooming with auras of different shades and colors. There are many elixirs, books, magical tools, spiritual materials, etc. That's the Zifu immortal weapon. It must be the Zifu immortal weapon, otherwise there would never be such a powerful treasure light. Everyone was talking a lot, and most of their eyes were focused on a 3-foot-tall, purple jade bottle. Fellow Daoists Su, are you really going to take action on this Zifu immortal artifact? Qingyang Daojun said in surprise. These are Zifu immortal weapons, and even he only has 2 of them in his hands. And the weather is not as good as this purple jade bottle. Not only him, but also Li Jingxiu, Fen Tuo, Monk Liao Chen, and Master Tianqi beside him were also surprised. Su Junming smiled lightly. I also got this blue mirage bottle, a magic refining treasure from Zhongmian in the late Han Dynasty, by chance. Although it has good power, I can't use it. I might as well exchange it for something I need. The main function of the green mirage bottle is to suppress the invisible but qualitative smoke of water, fire, and water. Although the power is good, it is not as good as his celestial elephant gate. It's of little use if you keep it in your hands, so it's better to exchange it. 5 of you, this green mirage bottle contains 3 levels of immortality and extraordinary power. If you are interested, you can buy it. After he retrained the green mirage bottle, its power became even higher. It's a pity that it is limited by the material and cannot carry the fourth level of immortal Ben. Otherwise, it would be a middle-grade immortal weapon, and its power will be directly upgraded by a level. Seeing that he really wanted to take action, the 5 people had different expressions. But I wonder how the true Lord wants to exchange it, Fenchuo asked. Simple, a complete mid-grade immortal root elixir, or an incomplete high-grade immortal root elixir will do. Su Junming's favorite thing is to collect various spiritual roots and fairy grass. If you don't have the immortal root immortal grass, you can also use spiritual materials of the same grade. If you don't have any, the rare treasures I'm interested in will do. After the 5 people listened, their expressions changed. The secret of Tianfu, the avenue of immortals. Someone exclaimed again. This is the great secret that leads directly to the Taoist immortals. Soon someone discovered the various immortal techniques Su Junming placed on the stone platform. Fellow Taoist Su, are you willing to exchange the inheritance of Chongshan lineage? Li Jingxiu said in surprise. Not only him, Taoist Qingyang, monk Liao Chen, Fen Tuo, Master Tianke, and even everyone present could hardly believe it. The celestial immortal inheritance is the foundation of a section. It is not directly passed down by the sect and is kept secret. And if you teach it privately, you will be punished with death. From the ancient times of the Shushan world to the present, I have never heard of anyone exchanging the secrets of immortals for treasures. This shock was much stronger than the green mirage bottle just now. Facing everyone's disbelieving looks, Su Junming smiled faintly. It's just a skill. It's meant for people to practice. Rather than cherishing it for myself, it's better to exchange it. If I can create a few more immortals for the righteous path, it will be considered a meritorious deed of mine. Thanks to the memory of the information explosion era in his previous life, he did not value the secrets of the exercises as much as Li Jingxiu and Fen Tuo. No matter how good the technique is, it all depends on who practices it. If you have insufficient qualifications and poor understanding, it will be difficult to achieve anything. Moreover, the strength of the Chongshan lineage lies not in the techniques, but in the spiritual treasures of the town and the foundation of the sect. In addition, these exercises are all 9 types of 5 elements, wind and thunder, and yin and yang that he specially selected. In the world of spiritual practice, the most people practice these 9 methods. In the future, those who have practiced these skills will find that the follow-up skills they need are still in our Chongshan lineage if they advance to the immortal realm. The best way to obtain the subsequent skills is to join our Chongshan lineage. Su Junming thought to himself. All people who can become immortals are all top talents with excellent qualifications, understanding, talent, character, and perseverance. Even his Chongshan Academy would not turn away such a person. As long as you can pass the simplest herringbone level test, you can definitely become a teacher in the academy. It would be best if it could pass the earth level test. Competition among sects, in the final analysis, is still a competition for talents. But if everything goes as Taoist friend Su said, it would be a great meritorious deed. Monk Liao Chen sighed. Fellow Taoist, you are overly praised. This poor Taoist also has some selfish motives for doing this. The conversation changed. Are you guys interested in Pandeo's green mirage bottle? I'm afraid that if I follow Chen, I won't have this good fortune. Qingyang Daijun shook his head. He and Chen were both ascetic monks who focused on self-discipline. They only had 1 or 2 treasures in their hands, which were barely enough for personal use. Exchange was impossible. Monk Liao Chen nodded in agreement. Master Tianke also shook his head. Although he still has a 10,000-year-old sacred copper coconut tree, it is the foundation of his copper coconut island and cannot be exchanged. Besides that, he doesn't have any good treasures. Moreover, the Tai magneto-optical disc that Su Junming trained for him is not fully used yet, so there is no need to be greedy for new treasures. On the contrary, Li Jingxiu and Fen Tuo, who have been cultivating for thousands of years and have deep family backgrounds, both miss the blue mirage vase. The two looked at each other and opened their palms almost at the same time. A piece of irregular black gold metal appeared in Li Jingxiu's hand, as big as a wash basin, exuding astonishing Zhengjin aura. In Fenchuo's hand was a 3-foot-tall dragon-shaped spiritual grass with a fiery red body. Taiyuan copper, red dragon grass. Su Junming's eyes lit up. Taiyuan copper is exactly what he called the middle-grade immortal material, and red dragon grass is a spiritual grass that was bred after being contaminated with the essence and blood of the dragon clan. It contains extremely rich fire essence, and is the perfect material for refining fire attribute spirits. The superior immortal root of Dan. In terms of value, it is even more than the blue mirage vase. However, this red dragon grass is only 3 feet tall and is still a seedling. Its value is similar to that of the blue mirage bottle. Fellow Taoist Su, it seems that you have to choose between the two of me. Li Jingxiu smiled. Su Junming reached out and made a move, and the green mirage bottle flew towards Li Jingxiu. I exchanged with fellow Taoist Li. Haha, then Li will appreciate it. After taking the green mirage bottle and playing with it for a while, he nodded with satisfaction and gave the Taiyuan copper in his hand to Su Junming. Taiyuan bronze contains extremely rich Zhengjin spiritual energy. He has no shortage of immortal weapons and has no intention of using them himself. It is appropriate to give them to the Dragon Emperor to practice the Great Five Elements Divine Light. After putting it in the bag, he turned his eyes and looked at Fenchuo, who looked disappointed.